Hey Scrappy Peeps, Suzanna here today for Spiegel Mom Scraps, and I am sharing with you a 4th of July or Independence Day layout. This is the layout, and if you go to the store to buy some sequins and you use the code Suzanna, S-U-Z with a Z-A-N-N-A 15, you can save yourself 15% off. So I'm going to speed through this, but basically what I did was I used a silhouette template and I marked the paper that I wanted to put the sequins on with pencil. I then applied a dot of glue and some sequins and some glue and some sequins and went through that. The outline of the star is red, and then I just alternated between various blues, reds as the sequence that is this star explosion. And when I was done, this is what it ends up looking like. And so from here, I'm then going to build my layout. I knew I wanted to put that particular piece of paper on a background, and I wanted the background to be at the bottom right hand side to just bring a little bit more color to the bottom of that layout. I also knew that that title that says a day of celebration wasn't going to work for me, and so I want to just celebrate, and then I was going to cover up a day of with banners. I wanted to actually cover that whole thing up, but it didn't work. I probably could have found a way to make it work, but I really wanted that celebrate in there, incorporate that into the title. So I printed this picture of my son on Independence Day last year, and you can see that the top left arm of the layout actually is white, and so I needed to find a way to cover that up, and you'll see how I do that later. So every celebration has banners, right? So I decided that I dug into my scraps and pulled out blues and reds, and I'm going to create banners that will cover up the words that I don't want and leave that celebrate that I'm going to incorporate into the title. So I'm just cutting different widths and patterns in that gradated size in order to create the banners, and then I'm going to V-notch them. So you cut through the center of the width of the paper, then cut in diagonals up to that center line, and that creates symmetrical V's for a banner. And I have those 3 there, and I'm actually going to end up changing that dark blue. It's too much of a contrast to the rest of the page. It kind of stands out like a sore thumb, and I'm going to end up turning one of those. You can see those stickers right there. Those are super old, and I'm going to turn one of those stickers into a banner there. So I have this picture of my son, which I described earlier, and then I'm going to actually just get a piece of blue paper and put that behind him and sort of skew that into the sequence. And I love the way that the sequence, in a way it reminds me of fireworks, and in another way it just is with the photo of him in the center is just a celebration, and it's fun. I love the effect that it gives for a 4th of July celebration. So I just gutted the paper, and because I wanted to lay it down and make sure that it was 12 by 12, I put a piece of paper behind it that just created a template for me in order to be able to line that piece of paper up. So that is the background of the layout, and then it's going to have those banners, and really that ends up being the bulk of the layout. I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different sequence mixes to get all the sequence for the red, white, and blue. I used In the New Year, The Wise Ones, Wedding Bells, Oh What Fun, Lisa's Starry Night, Black Tie Event, and All American, and they're mixes of most of those collections in there. So this is one of my thread balls. I'm not as good at thread balls as some of these other people are, but I certainly I like the effect that it gives, especially with the sequence. It sort of just adds a little bit of texture to the layout there. So I have my thread ball between the blue pattern paper and Nicholas, and that just kind of softens the layout and adds some texture. And I'm just using my tweezers here to kind of fluff that up a little bit. So I do want something a little more. While I love the sequence and the explosion there, I felt like it needed somewhere that I could journal, and I also felt that it needed something just to pop the sequence a little bit. So I have red, white, and blue as in my stash. I have my black and white papers in a file folder, and I have my red, white, and blue elements in a file folder too, because not only is it 4th of July, not only do I live in America, but our swim team colors are red and blue as well, and so I have lots of layouts that are red and blue. So I found this America that's in this very old, I want to say that it's KI Memories stickers, and so I thought Celebrate America was perfect for a title for Independence Day. And then I'm going to take some stamps and I'm going to stamp 2017 in underneath that, and I believe I end up doing that off camera. So just a few more stars that I'm going to end up using on the layout, and it's more just for that pop of red. Spiegel Mom Scraps, Jody and I've gone back and forth on this, does not have a lot of red sequence, and red is one of my favorite colors. So I used the bulk of what I have for red as that outline to outline the main star. And I wanted a little bit more red in there, so that's why I'm going to end up using that sticker and some pattern paper in order to provide that contrast. So this is a die from, actually that's just a plain die that's from Studio Calico from a Tuesday morning haul that I did recently. But I'm going to get out my Heidi Swap dies, which are sort of more messy hand-drawn stars. You can see it's from the Christmas collection. I'm going to get that out, and I'm going to use some of those messy stars to sort of offset the boldness of that photo and those stars in there. So that's the messy star. And you can see that star, the red one right there, that thing that I'm shuffling around there. I am going to create a companion layout using these offcuts from the stars, and you could, if you head over to my personal YouTube channel, and I'll link you up above here on the right hand corner there, I will link you to my personal YouTube channel, and you can see how I use these cutoffs on another layout. And again, it's a 4th of July layout. Can't believe 4th of July is 3 weeks away. That's just crazy. Crazy how time just flies. So I'm going to run a bunch of stars through there, and that will leave me a number of offcuts, and I will use those in another layout. I am going to back these stars with white. It just grounds the layout a little bit. I like cream and white together, but you do have to do a fair bit of tying it together somehow. But the pop of white, the crispness sort of brightens things up for me when you're using that ecru or off-white coloring. So this is just scraps of white paper. I'm going to back that star with the scraps, trace it with pencil. If I was smart, I could have used those offcuts and just traced that, but I wasn't that smart. And in a second, I'm going to fast forward through me just fussy cutting the outline of the star to back into that die cut star there. And there are going to, I'm showing you two, but it really needed a third one. And so I will do a third one in a different color. So again, this is a Spiegel Mom Scraps layout that I am creating. There is a companion page that is over on my personal channel. This one has an explosion of sequins. I don't believe I use sequins in the other collection, in the other page that will be up on my personal channel. It's a little bit of a lengthy process getting the sequence on the page, but it is well worth the time and the effort. The Silhouette store does have a fair number of rhinestone templates, and that's what I use. This particular cut file is a rhinestone template, and instead of using rhinestones, I just applied sequins. If you go through the Silhouette catalog, there are a fair number of cut files that are great for using them as templates for sequence application there. So I'm going to glue this star down, and it looks funny because it's just this star that ends up standing out on its own. So unfortunately, when I pull that star up, it does pull up the paper behind it. This is that third star that I'm pulling, that I'm cutting. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. So I do pull that up, and it pulls up the paper behind it, but I was able to use one of the bigger gold sequin stars, and that covers that up there nicely. So there's that third one for symmetry. I thought that I would put it where I've got it right there. There, you see that white hole there. But it looks like the star's sort of standing out on its own up there. So now I need something to cover that hole. And I thought maybe I'd put it back, but it really stands out. So I'm going to fix that with a gold sequence that you'll see me put in there. And off camera, I'm going to put in one of those larger stickers in place of that navy blue banner, and that's where my journaling is going to go. So again, if you go shopping at the store and you use Suzanna 15, you can find 15% off discount. Thanks for stopping in today. I hope you're doing well. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave them in the box down below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Take care.